Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today our topic is partitioning. Partitioning in main memory. Main memory nothing but the primary memory or random access memory. In operating system, when a program has to be executed, that program need to be copied into the main memory first. Then only that program will be executed by the CPU. So without copying any data into the main memory, that will not be executed at all, right? So for that purpose, main memory will have some size like a 1 GB, 2 GB or 3 GB, 4 GB like that, right? So every main memory will be divided into two unequal parts. One part is for operating system programs and another part is for user space or user programs. Here, why operating system programs are needed and why partition will be allocated, complete partition will be allocated to that operating system means operating system programs need to reside in the main memory to work with our computer system. So that is why operating system programs, some basic operating system programs need to run in the main memory, and that will be partitioned as in the main memory, right? So here in the user space, so whatever the user space allocated by the operating system, that user space will be allocated for number of processes in the system, and how those number of processes will be allocated into the main memory, and how much size partitions will be allocated for each and every process. Let us see. So for partitioning our user space, so let us assume that these are all random access memories or main memory only. So in this main memory, this is entirely user space. Let us assume that this is entirely free for user programs only, and this is also for user programs only. But in this partitioning concept, we are having two different techniques. One is fixed partitioning and variable partition. In fixed partitioning, this partitioning is also called a static partitioning, and variable partitioning is also called a dynamic partition. In fixed partitioning, how the process are going to be allocated. So let us take over the size of the main memory first. So let us take the size of the main memory here. The size of the main memory like 250. Okay. So the size of the main memory is 250 in the static allocation and dynamic allocation. First, we will see about the static allocation here. So in the static allocation, how this total memory will be divided into number of partitions. Right. In this fixed partitioning technique, this memory will be divided equally. Right. In fixed partitioning, actually two types of partitioning techniques are there in fixed partitioning also. One is equal partitioning and unequal partition. But we will discuss about only equal partitioning here. Just we will differentiate the fixed partitioning and variable partitioning here. And in fixed partitioning, we are going to discuss about equal sized partitioning technique. Okay. Now, in fixed partitioning, how this 250 locations will be 250 address location will be equally divided into number of partitions, right? Suppose this 250 has divided into 5 equal segments, right? 5 equal partitions. So let me partition all those things. Okay. Right. So let me make it as a first partition. Let me make it as a first partition. Right. And then this is the second partition. Next, this is a third partition. This is fourth partition, and this is a fifth partition. Right. Now, these are 5 different partitions, and each partition has the same size with the another partitions also. So these are equal size partitions. So the first partition size is 50, and the second is also 50, third one is also 50, fourth one is also 50, and fifth one is also 50. So there are 5 equal size partition in this fixed partitioning technique. So based on our requirement, like suppose there are 5 processes. So each process will have some size. Suppose P1 with the size 40, it is having some size of 30, P3 with size of 50, P4 with size 20, and P5 with the size of 40. So there are 5 processes here. Each and every process is having some size. So here the requirement for process P1 is 40, and this process has to be allocated into the main memory. Right. So before going to allocate any of the process, first before going to allocate any of the process, we need to check about one condition, that is the size of the process should be less than the size of the partition available here. So what is the size of the partition here? 50. So whether the process size 40 is less than 50 partition size? Yes, 40 is less than 50. So when the condition gets satisfied, that means the process size is less than the partition size, then we can directly allocate that process into the main memory, right? So let us allocate this P1 into the main memory, right? So it occupies only 40, it occupies only the size with the 40 only, right? So how much it has consumed? Only 40 of space has consumed by P1. So after allocating the process P1, P1 in the main memory, there is some empty space observed there. So what is that empty space? This small empty space created here, right? So what is the size of that empty space? 10. So 50 minus 40, that is 10. So there is a small hole is generated here. This is called a hole. A small hole is generated here, right? So next, go for the second process. What is the size of the second process? That is 30. So whether 30 is less than the partition size or not. So what is the partition 2 size here? 50. So 30 is less than 50 or not? Yes, 30 is less than 50. Okay, so we can easily allocate that process into the main memory. We can easily allocate that process into the main memory. Right. So it will occupy how much amount of main memory? Only 30, right? So let me allocate P2 here, right? So with the size 30, and what is the empty space observed here in this allocation? So a small hole is generated here, and the size of the hole is 20. Okay, this is a hole. Let me denote this as a hole, and this is also a hole. Okay. Right. Now, what is the next process here? Process P3. What is the size of this process here? That is 50. So whether this process size is less than or equals to the partition size or not. What is the partition 3 here? Size of the partition 3, that is 50. So here the size of the process is equal to the size of the partition. So when that is equal, you can simply allocate that process into the main memory. So what is the size of that process here? 50. So is there any hole generated here? No hole generated, right? That means the size of the partition and the size of the process are equal. Okay, then no question at all. Now let us allocate the next process. What is the size of the process here? 20. So let me make it as 30. Let me make it as 30. Right. So here the size of the process is 30, and 30 is less than 50. So can we allocate it directly or not? Yes, we can allocate. Why? Because the size of the process is 30, which is less than 50. So it will occupy only the main memory with the size 30. So let me allocate P4. Okay. So what is the size here? What is the size occupied by this P4? 30. So how much amount of remaining empty space there? 20. So 20 is a hole generated by the allocation. Next, what is the next process? P5. So whether P5 is less than the partition size? S. So can we allocate it? Yes, we can directly allocate it. How much of space will be accommodated to process P5? 40, right? So let me allocate P5 here with the size 40, and if there is a small hole generated here, that small hole with the size 10, right? So this is how a fixed partitioning will allocate all the process into the main memory. But at each and every partition, at each and every allocation, a small hole is generated with the size like 10, 20, 20 and 10. So these are all small holes. These small holes generated at each and every allocation in the main memory, right? So these small holes, how can we call these small holes? This small hole is called as a internal fragmentation. So here this is an internal fragmentation, and this is also internal fragmentation, this is also internal fragmentation, and this is also internal fragmentation. So internal fragmentation means whenever a process has been allocated to the main memory, after allocation, whenever a small hole is generated, that small hole is called as a internal fragmentation. So by this internal fragmentation, the size of the main memory is being wasted. So here 10 is wasted here, 20 is wasted here, 30 is wasted here, 20 is wasted here, and 10 is wasted here. So these small holes will not be useful in our main memory. Actually, the small holes scattered in the main memory, and that will not be useful anywhere, right? So that is why those are called internal fragmentation. Okay. So let us go for variable partition. So in this variable partitioning, how this will happen? Okay, how the process will be allocated in the main memory, right? So this variable partitioning is also called as a dynamic partition. Here in this dynamic partitioning, there will be no initial partitioning here. That means the primary memory or the main memory will not be partitioned on equal or unequal sized partitions, like equal and unequal sized partitions. Based on the size of the process only, they will be partitioned. Okay. So first, let me write the size of the process 1, that is 40. Size of the process 2, that is 30, 50, 30, and 40. So these are all sizes of each and every process. So let us allocate one by one. Process 1 first. So here, what is the size of the total main memory here? That is 250. So first we need to check about the process size along with the available size. So what is the process size here? 40. So 40 is less than 250 or not? Yes. So whenever the size of the process is less than the size of the availability here, then we can definitely allocate that process in the main memory. So here the process P1 is directly allocated into the main memory here. So let me write here, and the size of the process is 40. Okay, and after that, how much amount of memory is available after allocation of P1? Right, 250 minus 40. So how much amount of memory is available now? 210. Right. So here, let us go for the next process, that is P2. P2 is with the size 30. 30 is less than 210. Yes. So when the size of the process is less than the size of the availability, then we can directly allocate that process into the main memory, right? So let me allocate that. Here P2. P2 will be allocated here with the size 30. So after allocating these two processes, what is the availability? 180, right? 40 plus 30, that is 70. 50 minus 70, that is 180. So let us go for the next process, P3. What is the size of P3 here? 50. So 50 is less than 180. Yes. So we can allocate it or not? We can directly allocate that process into the main memory, right? With the size. So what is the new availability here? 70 plus 50, 120. 50 minus 120, 130. So let us go for the next. P4. P4 with the size 30, and 30 is less than 130. So we can easily allocate that process into the main memory. So let me allocate that process. Here, P4. What is the size of P4 here? 30, right? Now, what is the new availability? 100. So here 100 more space is available in our main memory. Let us go for the next process, that is P5 with the size 40. 40 is less than 100. Let us allocate that process also. Why? Because the process size is less than the available size. Right? P5 will be allocated with the size 40. Okay. Now all the processes are being allocated already. And what is the size of the remaining space? What is the size of the remaining space? 40 plus 30, 70, 120. 120 plus 70, 190. So 250 minus 190, that is 60. Okay. So 60 is the remaining space. Now, suppose one more process came here in fixed partitioning and as well as variable partitioning. So what will happen? Let us see in the fixed variable partitioning first. So suppose one process came here like a P6 with the size 60. With the size 60. Better to go for 50. Okay. 55. Right. So here one more process came here with the size 55, and whether this process can be allocated in the main memory or not. So is this process satisfies with our requirement, and what is the required size of that process P6? 55. And we need to check about the availability. What is the availability here? 60. So whether P6 is less than the availability, 55 is less than 60 or not. So yes, it is less than 60. So when our condition satisfied, that process P6 will be allocated in the main memory here. Right. So let me allocate that process into the main memory. Okay. Process P6. And after allocation, how much amount of space occupied? 55. And what is the hole generated? What is the size of the hole generated here? 5. So this is the size of the hole. So here there are no holes in the variable partitioning. Whatever the number of processes arrived here, like P1 to P6, all the processes are accommodated directly into the main memory. Only a small hole is generated with the size 5. If the same process arrived here also in the fixed partition with the same size like 55, so what will happen? So first of all we need to check about the availability. What are the availability here? 10, 20, 20 and 10, right? So there is no sufficient hole here. 55 is the required size of P6, but there is no sufficient size available, sufficient hole is available in the main memory. If there is no sufficient hole, we cannot accommodate that process into the main memory. Suppose, let us count all those things. Let us count all these holes together. 10 plus 20, 30 plus 20, 50 plus 10, 60. So 60 is the available hole here. 60 is the available hole here. But here, when you are trying to allocate that process into the main memory, it is not at all possible to allocate into the main memory. Even the size availability is greater than the required size here, we cannot allocate that process into the main memory, because these holes are actually scattered among the main memory, scattered among different address locations in the main memory. 10 is a hole scattered somewhere, 20 is a hole available somewhere in the main memory, and 20 is available somewhere, and 10 is available somewhere here in the main memory. So when you are combining all these holes together, then only you can get 60 as a whole. But there is no possibility here, right? So if there is no possibility, we can't allocate that P6 into the main memory, even the required size is available while combining all the holes together, right? And this is called external fragmentation. This is called external fragmentation, right? What is called external fragmentation? External fragmentation means the inability of allocating any process into the main memory, even the size, the available size is sufficient enough, but those number of holes are actually scattered in the main memory. Okay, so that is called external fragmentation, right? But in variable partitioning, here also external fragmentation is there. Here both internal and external fragmentations are available. Here both internal fragmentation and external fragmentations are there in a fixed partitioning, right? But in variable partitioning, only external fragmentation will be there. How only external fragmentation will be there? Let me explain the same. So suppose P2 has successfully completed its execution. P2 has successfully completed its execution, right? So P2 will be deleted from the main memory, and this 30 will be taken. This 30 will be considered as a whole. Then, okay. Suppose P4 also completed its execution. Okay. So that will be removed from the main memory, and this 30 will be created as a whole. Okay. Now, suppose one more process came into the main memory, right, with the size 65. With the size 60. Right. In this case, when new process came here with the size 65, like P7 with the size 65, this 65 is available in the main memory or not? See that? So let us count all these holes here. 30 plus 30 plus 5, 65. So 65 is a new hole, right? So 65 is the total size of the holes. Okay. Now if one new process came here with the size 65, based on our condition, we can allocate that process into the main memory, right? But here the problem is the external fragmentation. The external fragmentation means here whatever the size of the process can satisfy the size of all holes here, but we cannot accommodate that process into the main memory, because 30 is a hole available somewhere in the main memory, but 30, another hole like 30, it is also available somewhere in the main memory. That means all the holes are scattered in the main memory, right? That means they are not contiguous. They are not in contiguous locations. If one process has to be accommodated in the main memory, that should be the empty hole should be in the contiguous locations. If they are not in contiguous locations, we cannot allocate that process into the main memory. So here also external fragmentation. Right? So external fragmentation means we can simply see that the availability is equal to the process size, but we can't allocate that. So that is the problem. We call it as external fragmentation. So here also external fragmentation is there in fixed partitioning, and dynamic partitioning also external fragmentation is there, right? So that is the problem here. So we can overcome that problem using compaction. This external fragmentation can be overcome by the concept called compaction. So compaction is one of the technique used to overcome the external fragmentation. So how you can overcome this external fragmentation here? Let us see. Suppose a process is there here like P6 with the size 55. This 55 can be accommodated in the main memory. How it will happen? In this, using this compaction technique, you can pull all these holes together downwards here, like that. Pull 10 here downwards, 20 here downwards, 20 here downwards, and you can make a large hole in the end. So you can make a large hole at the end with the size 60. So when you are pulling all these holes together to one place, you can get a large hole with the size 60. So whenever there is a large hole in the contiguous address locations, then this P6 can be allocated into the main memory. So that is called a compaction. So in this variable partitioning also, suppose this 30 is a hole, and if you are able to pull this 30 downwards here, and this one also, if you are able to pull this hole 30 downwards here, you can make a large hole here with the size 65. If there is a large hole with the size 65 available at contiguous address locations, then you can simply accommodate this P7 without any interrupt here. So the external fragmentation we can overcome using this compaction technique. So in compaction means pulling all holes together to form a large hole, that is compaction. So using compaction in both fixed partitioning and variable partitioning, we can avoid external fragmentation using this compaction technique. So that is about fixed and variable partition, right? Thank you.